I'm not sitting here saying, hey, if you're a startup entrepreneur, quickly have like 2-3 children as well. That may not be the ideal advice.
Why not?
Entrepreneurs need to have a conviction, something you know about the world
Yes.
that others maybe aren't so sure about. What are the big guys doing? What's the innovation? How is prices changing? Where are the policies coming from that are going to hit me, like as an entrepreneur, like 6 months down the line?
Yeah.
I thought this was an enormous burden initially.
Yeah.
It's what keeps me sane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely what keeps me straight and thinking ahead. Founder 2 years ago with next to no funding, so I wasn't earning a salary. I've never paid myself a penny in 2 years.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy JT Mad Love for the Basics. This is the Forgecast. Luckily, we've got here to episode 7. And I'm happy to have one of the best people I've met so far in terms of media. He's achieved a lot. Former CTO of Nation Media Group. My good friend, I've known him for a while now, Oliver August.
Thanks, good to be here.
Good to be here. So, would you want to tell the public or our people that we did this before?
Nah, I think we'll just.
But it's nice to have you on board again. Always great having a conversation with you. And now the people are going to be able to see it.
Great.
Yeah. So, who is Oliver August?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Do you know some Swahili?
Kidogo.
Kidogo too?
It's the only word.
So the only one you know is Kidogo?
No. But my children speak better Swahili than I do.
Okay. Personally, I know of 2 national languages. One is English, the other one is Luo. And then of course there's Swahili. But yeah, so happy to have you on board. Oliver, we've checked your LinkedIn. Probably the people watching us today are going to check your LinkedIn and they're going to ask themselves one question before you open your mouth. You already have, of course. Who is Oliver August? If someone asked you that question just randomly, what would you say characterizes you the best?
I think I would describe myself as a journalist who got lost in the tech space.
Okay.
I was a journalist for the Times newspaper and the Economist magazine.
Yes.
And all the really exciting adventures seemed to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I ended up joining a tech company as a product manager.
Yeah.
Pretty steep learning curve. And my wife's Kenyan, so I ended up in Kenya. First as CEO of a company called Mawingu Networks,
yes.
Invested by Microsoft, building out rural connectivity networks. Then got hired by Nation Media Group as CTO.
Yes.
Probably the first CTO going from journalism to that space.
That was crazy. Like becoming a CTO yet you've had, but you were CEO of Mawingu.
Yes.
You did have some sort of tech experience.
It depends what you mean by tech experience, right?
Okay.
I'm not an engineer.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not an engineer.
Yeah.
I've worked with engineering teams.
Yes.
I have, been in the lead in a tech business. But I have great respect for engineers. I'm hoping that my eldest son is going to study engineering and he'll be, next level.
Wait, you want him to be like a software engineer? Probably?
I don't care what engineer. I mean, to me, it's just, that's a rare skill.
Yeah. So you'd say journalists that got lost in tech. Where does your heart lie though? Is it tech? Is it journalism?
Look, there's something both spaces have in common, and that's an entrepreneurial spirit. As a journalist, I was based in China, I was based in Iraq, I was based in, lots of not so friendly places where you need resilience and a sense of direction and some resources and a network of contacts to survive and prosper. Sound familiar?
Yeah, it does. The startup ecosystem.
So the transfer from news media to tech startup was actually in the end a more comfortable one than I expected.
Yeah.
Lots of differences.
Yeah.
But that basic thing of waking up and thinking I'm going to punch today really hard is quite similar.
You miss it.
I'm in a way I'm still in it.
Yeah.
After leaving Nation Media Group, I set up a media company in Africa for the green economy.
Okay,
so
I'm saying, do you miss the war journalism? You know?
No. I survived a car bomb in Baghdad 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go back there.
Yeah, I think is that like because there's family now?
Yeah, partly, but I had 16 people died in the bombing, so having to go through that is not particularly attractive. The thing about this might sound odd to people in the startup space.
Yeah.
But failure doesn't mean you'll forfeit your life. You might lose your investors' capital. You might waste a few years of your labor.
Yeah.
But there's sort of a bottom line that you're not going to cross.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you hold on to your mental health.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be in that place.
Yeah. So just have a buffer for failure, and giving up is cancelled is what you're trying to emphasize.
Yeah. I mean, you need enormous resilience.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you need to remember that working day and night isn't going to get you there, and that you need to be able to hold to your own greatest skills, which is something around your leadership.
Yeah.
Right? Good leaders don't work 24 hours a day.
Yes.
They might work 12, they might work 14 for a while.
Yeah.
I've been there myself. I was a very naive first-time CEO.
Wait, hold up. You're saying if I'm doing 14, 12 hours a day, and no need to be, for you to see this any kind of way. Are you saying someone is naive if they do that as a leader?
Yeah, I think I was.
Okay.
I got up, for 3 years, I got up at 5 a.m. every morning, 7 days a week, and worked till it got dark. And I don't think I achieved my best results that way. I still work very hard. I mean, I'm usually the first one in here in the morning.
Yeah, been beating me to it, yeah.
But, what your team really needs from you is leadership. You can hire an engineer, you can hire a salesperson, and there'll probably be better engineers and salespeople than you.
Yeah. They say you need to hire better to achieve smarter.
It depends on your resources, how much money in the bank.
Okay.
But what nobody can do for you is to set the direction and to have the confidence to make decisions, make lots of them quickly, piling one good decision on top of another. And you can't do that if you're totally exhausted.
Yeah, and they say the most efficient leaders have mastered decision making, and it comes with also how good you hire and how quickly things can move and how efficiently they can move within your company. So a large part of decision making in your company, growth in your company comes from just making the right decisions.
Yeah,
a lot of that doesn't come from actually coming in for 14, 24 hours a day, 18. It just comes from having a sound mind while you're at work.
I think that's more and more true the bigger you get.
Yeah.
In my case, I still do a lot of grunt work, but I try not to let the grunt work overwhelm the bits where decision making is needed.
Yeah. So we are coming from abroad, I suppose, right? And we end up in this company called Mawingu. How does that happen? And how does this white guy, this Mzungu, just show up in Africa, and now he's in Kenya, Nairobi, or where was it?
I was based in Nanyuki,
Nanyuki,
3 hours north of Nairobi. So yes, I went from living in London
living in London. So South London, North London,
West London.
West London. Okay.
To moving to rural Africa to become a CEO. I had worked in Africa before. I'd been hired by The Economist to be the Africa editor.
Okay.
And it's a very well-known publication, which means they also have quite a few resources.
Yes.
So I spent quite a lot of time traveling in Africa. And in 2012, I spent 15,000 miles traveling overland by public transport across Africa.
Wait, what was wrong with you? Like, why would you do 15,000 miles of public transport in Africa? Like,
because I wanted to get to know the place. And
well, you could just look at a map, Oliver.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work, was it?
Oh, I don't know.
So I basically spent a year traveling.
Yeah. And that gives you peace, traveling. You love traveling.
I do love traveling, but it also gives you insights that are hard to come by.
Yeah.
You know, the in-between places. If you fly to Lagos and fly to Johannesburg and fly to Accra, you look around near the airport, you're not going to learn that much.
Yeah.
So I came back from this trip, came to London and said to the bosses at The Economist, look, I think we've got Africa completely wrong.
Okay, so you did this trip, you went back, you said, I think we have Africa completely wrong. Had you met your wife by then?
I met her along the trip.
Oh, okay.
And look, I said, look, you know, the stuff we often talk about are famines and civil wars and all this stuff. That's not, if you travel overland in Africa, there aren't people sitting by the road starving. I'm sorry.
Facts.
You can go, you know, across most of the continent without encountering any kind of violence. It's really not the issue. There are lots of things that people worry about, but this isn't really the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is really that there's a continent full of people who are striving, who want to achieve things, and who have a real chance to do better in life. And, you know, their children are going to do even better. And this whole, you know, continent is rising. So The Economist then did a big front page cover story, Africa Rising.
Yeah.
You know,
Africa Rising.
Suddenly, like, sort of put me on this weird map where, you know, I got invited to lots of private equity conferences. Everyone wanted to hear this narrative. And, you know, and after a while, I asked myself, like, well, what are you going to do with this? And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I actually believe this to be true. I do think that this continent is rising.
Yeah.
And I want to be part of it, not just by marrying into it, which I have, but
that's a big way to show that, you know.
But also to commit myself professionally.
Yeah.
And so I set up a company called Continent Rising.
Continent Rising. So before you took this trip, did you have any relations whatsoever with Africa? Had you stayed here for a month before, or like?
I visited Africa before, but I didn't have a family relationship. I'm German originally.
Yes.
Many parts in the world where Germans go, you're looked at not very friendly, because, you know, during World War II, World War I, there was some bits of history that really weren't great from, you know, in terms of German actions.
Since changed,
It's slightly better in Africa.
Yeah, especially if you go to Namibia.
Well, we're not the biggest sinners outside a few places, particularly Namibia, obviously, is very problematic.
Yeah. But there's beautiful cities that the Germans left there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite a lot of, I mean, you know, the past is problematic.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I think we can say very conclusively that colonialism was a terrible thing.
Yes, it was.
And even if you can point out a few benefits, you know, that does not justify.
Yeah.
Look, what I see, and, you know, we know entrepreneurs need to have a conviction, something you know about the world that others maybe aren't so sure about.
Yeah.
What I know about what I see is that Africa's big opportunity, and frankly, its largest challenge, is around climate change. And it's an opportunity because new technologies create the opportunity to create new products, to solve problems with the environment. It's, of course, also a challenge. Many people's lives or livelihoods are endangered by it. And a lot will go into that. we're seeing the emergence of what people call a green economy.
Yes.
Companies that are in the field of renewable energy, electric mobility, a circular economy with recycling, and so on and so on. Now, one of the challenges is knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Who does what deals are on, who's raising money, where are jobs to be had. And that information is pretty hard to find. There's a spectrum, and we're at either end of it. You can either go to LinkedIn and scroll forever to find a few morsels of useful information, or you can go to a big consulting company and pay millions of dollars to get high-class information. And what I want to do, and what my team is doing, is to democratize high-quality information around Africa's green economy, not at McKinsey prices,
Yes.
not at the sort of horrible noise-to-signal ratio that is LinkedIn,
Yeah.
but a one-stop shop where you get the professional information that you need to build a career or a business or a social and environmental change in Africa.
So you're providing the infrastructure for this.
Information infrastructure.
Information infrastructure. And you're tailoring your prices to, I would say, the common mwananchi.
At the moment, it's free.
Okay. At the moment.
And a very large part of it will remain free.
Yeah.
So we have 10 different publications in different fields. So like I said, energy and vehicles and so on. And that basic information is free and will remain free. A lot of it is built on proprietary databases that we're building up.
Yes.
With industry information.
Yes.
And we're eventually going to start charging for access to that data. But we do believe that access to just a flow of news coming out is public access.
Yeah. Oliver, this is great stuff you're doing. I must commend what you're doing with your company. What is the name of the company?
Continent Rising.
Continent Rising.
Yeah, continentrising.com.
Continentrising.com. That is the green.
That is the company that sits across 10 different brands, all with the name Rising in it. So we have the mobility sector has Mobility Rising.
Mm-hmm.
The renewable energy sector has Renewables Rising, and so on and so on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you go and check out Continental Rising. Continentrising.com, so that you can be able to see
see what we do.
Yeah, what Oliver is talking about, and just get a feel of what's going on. I have a feeling it's some really good stuff, and I'd like to partner actually.
Good.
I'd like to partner somehow. So where do you see it going? There's somewhere it started, and when it started, the person who was starting this company has a vision for it. There's somewhere you see it going.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going in the future?
Look, where I see it going in the long term is that the green economy is not a separate thing. The whole economy is going to have to be sustainable in the long term.
Yes.
The planet won't function if only some people behave well.
Yeah.
So ultimately, the sort of information that we're providing about sustainability and decarbonization and so on is going to be relevant to every business sector, to every professional in Africa. And that's millions of people. And if we can serve a good number of them, I think we'll do well.
Is it passion-based? Is it to help the people, or is it profit-based?
Look, I would say that for most successful entrepreneurs, you can't make that distinction. If you don't have the passion,
yes,
you're not getting out of bed every morning and hit your head against the wall, right?
Yeah.
Until you get through.
Yeah.
And if you're not generating a profit, nobody is going to give you resources to achieve your passion. So I think the two are kind of...
I always say, especially when I was in the VC space and someone would come and say, "Oh, JD, we need funding," I always ask them, "Why did you start the business?" And the moment I hear them talking about opportunities only in terms of profit, if I don't hear attachment with the business in terms of wanting to genuinely make a difference or help people solve a problem, I usually say this won't work. Because what happens when you're only targeting profits? What happens when they're not there? You're going to give up.
Sure. Look, let me tell you about how I came up with the idea originally. I was working at Mawingu,
Yeah.
this basically an impact tech company, creating Wi-Fi connectivity for people living outside cities.
Yeah.
It's sort of a telecoms business. I had never worked in I'd never worked in a tech company. Well, almost. I'd been one small product manager job. I had never worked in an African company.
Yeah.
And I had certainly never worked in telecoms.
Yeah.
I was looking for somebody every morning to send me an email with like, what's going on in your sector?
Yeah.
What are the big guys doing? What's the innovation? How is prices changing? Where are the policies coming from that are going to hit me like as an entrepreneur, like 6 months down the line?
Yeah.
Nobody was going to give me that information. I could not find it.
Yeah.
And so I knew there was a need.
There was
I
a
was
need
like,
for this information.
I'm a first generation African professional.
Yeah.
I may not be African by birth.
Yeah.
I'm a resident here, and I'm certainly a first generation professional. My parents were not professionals.
Okay.
And I'm the same as everybody else in my company usually. You know, if I go around and says, what did your parents do? Well, you know, few people say, well, you know, they had a laptop and they worked in an office.
Yeah.
We're all first generation professionals, most of us.
Yeah.
Where do you get the information? Where's your network? Where is your intelligence coming from?
Yeah.
That's the problem I'm trying to solve.
That's amazing, man. Through all this that we're doing, I think it's important to always want to make a difference, make the world a better place, have an impact. I can clearly see that. But there's things that hold us together. There's things that we value that keep us going every day. Would you say for you that's family?
I would say it's even more than that. I mean, look, I think none of us can live a professional life if we don't have a personal life.
Yeah.
I found myself in the sort of fairly difficult situation of being a founder 2 years ago with next to no funding. So I wasn't earning a salary. I've never paid myself a penny in 2 years of running this business. My wife was earning an income, which meant I was also looking after our children. And so, you know, every morning I go to school, drop my kids at school, and then come to the office and do the same at the end of the day. And I thought this was an enormous burden initially.
Yeah.
It's what keeps me sane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely what keeps me straight and thinking ahead. And I work just as hard as I always have, but I actually feel more awake, more aware, more tuned in because I have something else in my life. Yeah. And I don't get stuck, or less so. So look, I'm not sitting here saying, hey, if you're a startup entrepreneur, you know, quickly have like 2-3 children as well. That may not be the ideal advice.
Why not?
But it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, amazing story, sir. I know you're rushing somewhere.
I'm actually going to my kids' school. I have to pick them up.
They matter the most to us, of course, our children. I have one daughter. She's very important to me. Really value her. If someone asks me what drives you, I wouldn't say it's my kids. I would say it's changing the world. I'm driven to make a difference, to change the world, to make it a better place. If I do that, my daughter will be fine. But yeah, I value spending time with her as well. Actually wish I was rushing. Mine hasn't started school, but I know it's coming. Yeah, so thank you so much. In Kenya, we say twende kazi. I don't know if you know what that means.
No, tell me.
Twende kazi. It means let's get to work.
Oh, let's kazi work. Yes, twende. Yes, I remember. Do you remember there was a startup called Twende here?
Yes, Twende. Yeah.
But yeah, very good. Twende kazi.
Thank you so much for joining us, Forge. I hope you enjoyed the episode and you had something that inspired you today. The man traveled 12,000 miles with public transport. That's hell. I suffer. I suffer doing that for what, like 3 kilometers. So, and the man also started a startup without funding and hasn't paid himself for the past 2 years. That alone should motivate you today to do something if you have an idea in tech or to start up, to have a startup. Follow the link in the description. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe to our channel. Let's have a conversation. If you want to interact with Continent Rising, please check out the website. It's going to be there. And yeah, let's motivate. Let's be with each other. As we usually say, forge to the world. Do you want to try it? Forge to the world.
Very good.